Our next guest of the program is probably one of the most famous photographers from the last 20 years.
Yeah. He's been traveling the world for the Niva de Fou for 17 years. What are you laughing at, man? Punk.
at your very long, windy answers. Yeah. All right.
And he was there with the first Gulf War.
He was there right at the start of the first Gulf War. This guy's he's an incredible history behind this man, as far, also, aside from being a wildly talented photographer. He is famous for shooting nightlife, and he now, this is his first book, and he just came out with his second photo book, and he's a wonderful man, and we're very happy to have him here. Would you please welcome Gerard Wessel. For mine?
This is especially for you.
For mine?
It is.
Oh, I didn't get you anything.
That's okay, man. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. And you look like a pimp, brother.
You even look better, Tom.
No, man, you and me together. We should do like
we can do a big show.
We should do a buddy cop movie together.
We do, man.
The boys in
It's a good idea.
I'll shoot you and he'll take a picture of it.
I will indeed.
Perfect. Now, and you were at the start of the first Gulf War. Before everything happened, you were there.
Well,
that must have been scary.
It was a bit tricky trip. I went with a colleague to Jordan, and we tried to make a report about the Red Cross working there in a special area, the no man's land. And it happened to be that we arrived at the Iraqi border, so we were very close. And there was a refugee warning us, please go, there's a soldier coming. So we went with our van, we drove back to the Jordanian border, and before we went to the border, we were almost arrested by Iraqi soldiers. And so we had to flee. We had to flee.
Flee. But the Iraqi soldiers had the flu. And he had to flee because he didn't want to get germs. Don't laugh. The man... People are so insensitive sometimes.
Okay, it is. Yeah, okay, Tom.
So why aren't you there now?
No, I think it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
I did some trips into the war zone, but I think I tend to take too many risks. Like I talked to my colleague Arnold Karskens, and he told me if you want to be a war photographer, you better learn not to take too many risks. If you do that, you know, you either end up in prison, or you got shot, and well, it's not really my profession.
And Arnold Karskens is there right now. He was on our show a few weeks ago.
He's doing a very good job there.
And I wouldn't want that job at all.
No,
but you have faced danger because you got famous for this story you did with Peter Storms.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Where you were in what was it?
Suriname.
In Suriname, and you were doing an item on Ronnie Brunswick.
Yes. Well,
why is that memorable for you?
Because it was my first trip to Suriname.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Brunswick was a kind of freedom fighter.
Right.
And he deserted from the army. And there was a story in a Dutch Telegraph telling that Ronnie Brunswick was a kind of Robin Hood, you know.
Right.
He was robbing the banks and giving the money to the people. So it was like a good idea for us to go there to make a story about Ronnie Brunswick.
Right.
But it didn't work that well because we were arrested in Suriname and we were put in jail for 3 weeks. And so...
That's not funny.
No.
He was in jail for 3 weeks? And you were beaten, too. Tell him you were beaten.
No.
And they pulled my fingernails out. That's late for Mark.
No.
That's late for Mark, right?
That's late for Mark. No, they didn't do anything. Well, we were questioned at night, you know,
right.
early in the morning at 2 or 3 o'clock, you know.
Right.
We had to go in a special room, you know, with a lot of equipment and microphones, and was a guy pointing a gun on, you know, on my head.
So you were interrogated and like kind of tortured,
indeed, yeah. Well, like kind of in an American movie. There was a lot of microphones and tape recorders, and it wasn't that serious though. But still, they had guns, you know.
Do me a favor. Tell me that Peter Storms cried like a baby.
No, he didn't do it.
He did. He cried like a... Didn't he?
He didn't do it. You know, we.
You had to keep telling him, "Shut, quit crying, you puss."
No.
Didn't you?
You know, I think. Well, though he fought with 2 soldiers, that's what Peter did.
Oh, he did.
And then they put him in a very old prison, you know, with only 2 by 2 meters.
Right.
And I was in a more luxurious position. I had a more bigger cell. But still, you know, it was, we were there for 3 weeks.
They gave you 2 roaches to eat a day.
It is, man. It is. No, we had rice and kousenband. That's about it.
So Gerard, tell me something. In the last few years, you're also known for the photo series in the Nieuwe Revue of Dutch nightlife. But I heard you stopped doing that.
Yeah, well, after being in a photographer in the nightlife for about 15 years, you know, you've kind of had it. You know, it's like after years, this is the kind of the same. You see the same pattern, you know. It starts at 12, 1 o'clock, and at 3 o'clock everybody is, you know, intoxicated with booze and with, you know, ecstasy pills. So, now, I try now to work on the street during the daytime.
Okay.
So it's like,
So you got
it was big fun though.
You got a family now, right?
Yeah, I got a beautiful wife and 3 kids, so it's kind of busy.
Can't be out with the knuckleheads
So, you know,
doing ecstasy.
Acting like a... excuse me?
You can't be out with the knuckleheads doing ecstasy, right?
No, it is. You know,
Hey, I got kids.
8 o'clock in the morning, you know, the kids
Right.
are awake again.
Right. And what's the most that you've ever been paid for a photograph?
Oh, well, I'm not so much a paparazzi photographer, so...
They get paid the most, the celebrity people?
Yeah, that's those magazines pay the most, you know. The most money I make by doing commercial photography, you know. And if they want to have a buyout, you know, they sell extra. That's the way you can make some extra money. But not like, you know, a paparazzi photo.
What is the most extravagant project that you've ever worked on?
Well, like I work with Pierre Wind. It's a very famous Dutch cook, and we did some very nice photography with skulls and with nude girls and.
Oh, there's one in here, isn't there?
It is.
Can I find it?
Yeah, probably.
You gotta see this.
No, it's that photo was.
There it is.
Yeah.
And you didn't
Well,
know...
this was.
Why does she have a skull by her cookie? I don't get it. Does that mean that it's death for all those who enter here?
No.
That's like the warning above Dante's Inferno for hell.
Well,
Woe all
well,
ye who enter here.
Well, we had Pierre Wind doing the food, and we had the stylist to decorate the skull and the rest.
And what are you working on now?
Well, now I'm working on a street project in Amsterdam. So instead of working at night in the nightlife, I try to shoot, you know, like the street photography, like the old documentary photography. So no models involved and no studio work involved.
So street people like junkies and people who live on the street?
I photographed too many junkies in the past. No, yeah. So just a regular like this kind of photography.
That's a nice shot. That Times Square?
This Times Square in New York in the late 80s.
Nice. Were you drunk?
No, it's kind of...
Oh, that's some kind of photo effect,
Kind of William Klein type of photography.
And you also did some work with the Crips in The Hague.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Are you still friends with them?
No, I was supposed only to shoot the leader, Delano.
Right.
And I was already waiting for 2 hours to shoot that guy. He was 2 hours too late. And then he ended up with about 20 or 30 guys. And they all were dressed like Crips, you know, in blue.
Right.
With bandanas. And they'd wear a lot of sport bags.
Were you nervous?
No, not. But then when you open the sport bags, there were shotguns and there were pistols.
Pistols.
So, you know, I shot the whole group and they were all pointing guns at me, so that was a bit frightening.
Yeah.
And then again...
I'm gonna shoot and they all go, whoa!
Yeah. So wherever I looked, you know, if I turn around, there was a guy with a gun, and if I looked that side, there was a guy with a gun. So, you know, they were everywhere.
I'm really stunned because this book, it's a wonderful book, and it's an overview of all your work. And I don't know how it's possible, but somehow you got a picture of my mother. That's just incredible. I don't know.
That's a very famous one.
That's wonderful. And thank you very much for the book. And much continued success to you. And thank you for being here. Everybody give Gerard Wessel a big round of applause.